Hey everybody, Garcia here, and today I'm taking a look at a spin-off from Carson City, a worker placement game. This is Carson City, the card game. In this game, the players are going to be using their hand of cards to bid, basically, simultaneously for plots of land, build up their town, bring in characters to give them special powers, and try to have the highest score at the end of the game. So, let's go ahead and take a look at how the game works. We'll come on back after that. I'll tell you what I think of this one. The objective of the game is for the players to get the most points, and they are going to be doing that by building up their towns with these cards here, right there, and playing them out into lots on the table, developing their town, which can be at most 8 squares by 8 squares. They'll be able to cover up sometimes the blank lots like so, and they'll score based on adjacency of buildings that are present in their town, things like that. So that's the general idea. You are going to have a score pad to help you out with all that scoring at the end of the game. So each round is going to go like this. Everybody gets a deck of cards, which has the numbers 1 through 9. You are going to have 4 of these at least in play for fewer than 4 players. So for example, if I'm playing with 2 people, I'm sitting here, my opponent is sitting there, then these 2 would be just dummy players, all right? So we're going to shuffle up their decks, and we'll put them face down, and they are playing as well. A single player while you're playing with 3 dummies, okay? And then we flip over cards. You always flip over 1 character, and then 4 of the lots, and put those into play as possible choices in the upcoming round here. So there we go. Those are our choices. There's also 2 of these aids. There are more of them, these here, but they come in different languages. So in English, you only have 2 of these, and they show you the distribution of buildings and some characters on the front. And so we take a look at all this, and then we are going to decide what card we would want to play. So I'm going to go ahead and play that card. My opponent might play that one right there. Then we reveal them, and these 2 dummy players just flip one over. And then from the highest to the lowest, we are going to take any one we want from the center here and deploy it. If we take the character, we just put that character in our area. There may be a scoring character for the end of the game, or they might have a triggered power, in which case we turn the character sideways and do the power, all right? So the highest number played was my 6. I'm going to go ahead and take first. I'm going to take this one and put it into my town, start at the beginning of that town. In this case, there is a mine right there. This mine is going to give me 2 victory points for each adjacent mountain. So already these 2 are in a good position for that mine. Next up, these 2 players tied at 4. So we check the back of the revealed character, upcoming character, and see where the tiebreaker is. In this case, this symbol shows up higher than this symbol, so this character will go next. The dummy players, the way they work, there's a tiny little number in the center of the lots, and at the bottom of the characters, it just takes the highest number. In this case, it's the character has a 5, so they take it, put that face down in a pile somewhere. Then this player is going to go, they are going to take this card, and then this player is going to go, this is the highest, so they just take that and put it aside somewhere right there. The last one's discarded. The cards we all played are left face up on the table somewhere, and then we do it again with revealing cards, picking a card from our hands, and once again divvying out the ones that got revealed. The cards over here, the characters, sometimes you'll find one that when you flip, you will find a skull instead. So for example, in the upcoming round, if I go ahead and flip that, this one lets me know that character is actually eliminated, and we flip again. Okay? If that was also a skull, well, again, this would be eliminated, and we flip again until you've actually played out the cards that you need. This continues through 9 rounds through stage 1, and then we do it again, another 9 rounds, everybody picking up all their cards for a stage 2, and then we figure out the score. The scoring is, there's a lot of it, as you saw from the score sheet here, but a lot of it is pretty much the same. Several buildings score for adjacency, adjacent houses, adjacent empty lots like the ranch here. adjacent mountains, and then there are also some symbols that just mean you score for that thing being anywhere in your town. You are also going to find a few cards that have some outlaws. These outlaws normally remove victory points from your town, such as this one here. So here we've got 2 houses. We've got a, what's that building called? A general store. Gets you a point per house adjacent and another point for a house anywhere. And then the outlaws here are going to cost you 6 victory points unless you have a prison in play or you have one specific character, the sheriff, in play. And then the penalty is neutralized. So there'll be a few little combos like that. But that's largely it. That's how the game works. Score up your entire city at the end of the game. See if you've got the highest score. And you're also meant to score the dummy players simply by adding up those numbers I told you about. So, the little numbers in the center of the plots and the numbers at the bottom. It is possible, though I'm not sure why this is necessary except in a one-player game, that one of those characters, the dummy players, are going to beat all the real players at the table. Again, makes sense in a solitaire mode, but I'm not sure why they're meant to be scored with more than one player. If you're playing with 2, just figure out who has the highest score between you 2. Don't worry about the fake players not sitting there, even if they would beat you. So that's basically it. These characters are going to score victory points for every other character. They let you add a number to the card you play. They score a number of points based on specific symbols, things like that. So there you go. They're all largely variations on that. This one scores for empty lots around the ranches, that sort of thing. All right? So there you go. Let's go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it. All right, so there you go, Carson City, the card game. Let me tell you what I thought here. So things I liked. I like the theme in the game. You're building up your town. That feels good. It's got the same theme as its bigger previous sibling, and it comes across well. I do enjoy using square cards to build up your districts, your areas, your different kinds of buildings. That all, makes sense and feels correct. I like the progression, the growth that the game brings. I also thought the game length was good. Playing 18 rounds, once through the first deck, then again through the stage 2 deck. That works. It does not outstay its welcome. I like that the later in each round you have fewer options in your hand, of course, and that leads to interesting choices. Do you play that, 9 now and probably guarantee you have first pick, or do you save it and maybe something good is about to come up that you're going to need that 9 for? So there's that. Things I thought were just okay. And this is kind of hard to talk about some without bringing them all up. So the strategy in the game, I thought a lot of the scoring was the same. This scores for stuff around it. This over here scores for other stuff around it. There's a lot of that. There is no building that is, okay, well, if it ends up in the same column, you score. If it's not adjacent to something, you score. So the city building part, which a lot of people like that kind of game, feels samey in this. It's the scoring changes the drawings of the buildings, but it's the same stuff a few times. The robot players, and I'm going to talk a lot about this, I think they really hurt the nature of the strategy in the game. Simultaneous selection, you flip, and then you draft in turn order, depending on the card you played. If you're playing with real people, you can read the table. You can take a look and go, okay, I think I get away with playing like a 5 or a 6 right now because of what's available, and possibly get first pick anyway. The robot players destroy that strategy, so it's a lot harder to have a good plan and put that into effect in the game. I mean, yeah, they reduce the pool available, but they do so randomly. Sometimes a card that would be good, and both, the spread is would denote that people play high, and both robot players play a 1, or vice versa. So that's a mess, or all 3 robot players. Depends how many people you're playing with. The ease of play I had a problem with. The icons on the above the buildings is fine, but then the building itself does not have an icon. For some reason, that's not on the building itself. I need to make that leap, Why would they not just let me know that building is represented by the pickaxe right on the building with the same icon? Don't make me look at the artwork. tell me that's that building. And then I can very quickly go, okay, that building being next to this one, good. Instead, I have to go look at the player aid or the rule book, which has building descriptions in 2 separate places. That's kind of a problem. So, talking about things I didn't like as much, not enough player aids. The rulebook is messy. As I said, it explains buildings in 2 separate areas. They don't both say the same exactly, so that's kind of a problem. The back of the rulebook actually has all the good information. There's a page in the rulebook that doesn't fully explain everything. There are no icons on buildings, all of that. And then the thing I thought was the worst thing about the game was just the scalability is a no-go. This is not a 1 through 6 player game. This is a 4, 5, or 6 player game. And I probably wouldn't want to play at 6 because it's a lot. It's too much. And 5 even might be a little long, so then you're thinking it's a 4-player game. I don't want to play with any dummy players in this game. I think they do not work very well. So that's unfortunate, and honestly, in my opinion, the biggest hit to the game is that it is not a 1 through 6 player game. You want to play with at least 4. You don't want any dummy players in this. As a solitaire way to goof around, sure, who cares? But the fact that 3 players sitting at the table could be beaten by the dummy player, why would you even score that dummy player? I mean, never mind having a dummy player. Just adjust the rest of the game so there isn't one. But the fact that you still score it and it might still win, why? Why would you do that? So, overall, I thought the gameplay, the city building aspect of it is interesting. I love that kind of game. But this one doesn't give me anything that a game like, say, Quadropolis gives me, which has the same thing, build up different districts and score. The scoring in that game, as in many other of these kinds of games, is actually different from building to building. And then the dummy players on top of that just wreck any semblance of strategy that simultaneous selection would have. So, yeah, I'm not super thrilled with this one. I'm not sure if the people who enjoyed the big game are going to like this as a city building exercise. It's a lot lighter, and I like the characters, but they also do a lot of the same things. This one gives you +3 to your next card. This one, if you call it before people select cards, gives you a +6. It's the same thing, basically. So, yeah, I'm not sure if that crowd who likes Carson City is going to necessarily like Carson City, the card game. It might be too swingy and random, especially without at least 4 players. So, for me, this would be a pass, but if it looks good to you, the game isn't broken. It's just a little undercooked. And again, if you intend to play with 4 players anyway, then a big part of my issue does go away. Still not perfect. Rulebook's still messy. Icons are still missing when I think they should be there anyway. But, so again, you could try it if it really looks good to you. But I would say there's a lot better games out there that do city building like this and are more A, cohesive, and B, interesting in their scoring methodology. So there you go. That is Carson City, the card game. I'm Z Garcia, and I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com.